and take some notes. Joining me this morning is Sonia Clayton, the CEO of her own company called Virtual Intelligence Providers. Good morning and thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, Virtual Intelligence Providers. What exactly is that?
We are an information technology company, and we specialize in information systems training particularly, and we also get involved in other areas of the operation such as change management and even the staff augmentation aspect of the project.
Okay, you started your own company doing this, but is this something that you did before or you kind of just moved into it?
I kind of grew into it. My educational background is not in IT. I studied business administration and human resources management, but eventually I got a flavor for the IT field and I fell in love with it and I stay there. I come from the airline industry. I actually work for Air France and Continental Airlines, where I started my career as a French, Spanish, and Portuguese interpreter. And then I moved into the world of corporate security for Continental Airlines, and I ran that enterprise for about 3 years. And I was involved with the establishment of the corporate security division. That was the very first corporate security department ever created for an airline industry operation. And so we grew into, or I grew into a different thing. Eventually I moved into human resources and in international flight operations with Continental. When I was in human resources is when I first started playing with IT, information systems, databases, and I fell in love with Oracle and eventually with SAP.
Now, Oracle and SAP, for someone like me, what's Oracle and what's SAP?
Very good question. And the best way to put it is, I always explain this. First of all, they belong to a family of enterprise resource planning systems. And what that translates into is pretty much I always explain it in lame terms as it's like your central nervous system in a corporation. Mm-hmm. It runs everything within the corporation, anything from human resources to production planning to sales and distribution to quality management. All the areas of the operation are just embraced by one single system. And so the CEO of a corporation has pretty much fresh data to look at and see how is the enterprise running.
Sonia, after having been in the corporate world for so long, why would you not stay in the corporate world other than, oh, I want to start my own business?
Well, that's a very good question. I was always the person that was thinking outside the box. And sometimes the corporate world doesn't like people like that. We are very bold. We say the wrong things. We are very aggressive. And we approach it in different ways. And the corporations don't like that. And I think they have a specific format. They're sometimes very political. And I wasn't very good at that. I was a doer. I was a thinker-doer. I will think and I will execute. And sometimes corporations don't like people like this, and that was my problem. I decided very soon that I was going to move into my own field someday, and I always had my dream of building something of my own, but I never knew what exactly was I going to be building. But eventually, when I got to know the IT world, I fell in love with that field and felt that that was my niche.
Now, moving into the IT field, starting your own business, unless you had a really big bank account, you had to have funding. Was it difficult to find funding to get started?
Very much so. Very much so. And the reason was because when I started approaching banks, nobody knew who Sonia Clayton was. Nobody knew who VIP was. And one of the things that helped me out in the economical aspect of the operation was the fact that I had no debt. I had completely paid my homes, my cars, and I felt like everything that I was going to create could actually go against my existing collateral if I had to reach out to my existing economical collateral. And so I really was never forced to pursue anything heavily with banks.
You have been honored locally, Houston Business Journal, the fastest growing woman-owned business.
Yes,
that
sir.
has to be a wonderful honor for you.
Yes, that's actually a real honor for us, and we were very surprised to be awarded, but we're there, and we're very thankful for it. We have received this honor, and we're very proud of it.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so very much for joining us here. Sonia
Thank you.
Clayton. And the company name again?
Virtual Intelligence Providers, SAP Training Services.
All right. Thank you so very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us here
Thank
on
you.
Hola Houston. Well, you just heard how one business owner got started. Hope you're inspired now. When we come back,